Right now, in the dark, your body is doing something your ancestors did for 200,000 years, bracing for danger it can't see. We think the fear of the dark is childish, but it might be the oldest survival instinct we had. For most of human history, night wasn't quiet. It was when the predators came out. 30 humans had full night vision. Lions, hyenas, their parks, all built to see in the dark. We weren't. So evolution did something clever. It made darkness itself feel dangerous, even when nothing was there. That's why your heart still raises a little when a light slips off in an unfamiliar room. You're not being irrational, you're being ancient. Even now, development psychologists notice something curious. Fear of the dark doesn't show up in infants. It emerges around age 2, like when a child's imagination becomes more powerful enough to fill empty space with monsters. Inside your skull, a small almond-shaped structure called anivilla is responsible. It's the brain's threat detector, and it fires faster in darkness than in light. Because for most of human evolution, what you couldn't see was far more likely to kill you than what you could. This fear didn't stay biological for long. Nearly every culture on Earth turned it into myths. In Aboriginal Australian storytelling, the night sky itself was a map of ancestral secrets watching. In many West African traditions, spirits and unseen beings were said to roam freely once the sun went down. In medieval Europe, the hours after midnight were called the witching hour, a time believed to belong to witches, demons, and wandering souls. Villagers bared their doors and kept a flame burning until dawn. In Japan, the dark arts were said to belong to yokai, spirits and shape-shifting creatures that emerged once lanterns were extinguished. Entire rituals developed just to keep them at bay. Across the Middle East, folklore spoke of jinn, beings made of smokeless fire, said to be most active between dusk and the first light of dawn. In parts of America's indigenous traditions describe the night as a threshold, a time when boundary between living world and the spirit world grow thin. Different continents, different centuries, different gods, but almost every culture arrive at the exact same conclusion. Something changes when the light goes out. And it's safer not to find out what. Then came fire. And fire didn't just keep predators away. It rewired how humans lived. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups noticed something surprising. Daytime conversations were about work, complaints, disputes, but at night, around the fire, the conversation changed completely. People told stories, myths, jokes, history, passed from one generation to the next. Firelight didn't just extend the day. It created the very first form of entertainment and the first classroom. In other words, the fear of the dark is the reason humans learn to gather, to bomb, to imagine. Archaeologists have found evidence of controlled fire use dating back roughly 1 million years. In sites like South Africa's Wonder World Cave Long before written history, before language as we know it, humans were already choosing the fire over the dark. Modern neuroscience backs up the old instinct. Studies show cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, rises measurably in low light and dark conditions, even in perfectly safe environments. Researchers studying urban environments found that poor industries increase self-reported anxiety significantly, even in neighborhoods with genuine low crime rates. The fear isn't always about real danger. It's about the dark itself. This is also why a majority of young children go through a phase of needing a night light. It's not a character glow. It's a brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. Great in darkness as unratified territory. The same mechanism follows us in Kiradalfu. Sleep researchers have linked items, hypervigilance, the difficulty falling asleep in unfamiliar dark rooms. Your ancient other system still doing overtime. Interestingly, the intensity of this fear isn't constant across a lifetime. The peaks sharpen in early childhood, fades through the teenage years, and for many people, quite the resurfaces in old age, often tied to declining eyesight and increased vulnerability. Fast forward to today, we have streetlights, home flashlights, 24-hour cities. Real danger in the dark is rare, but the fear didn't get the memo. Studies on anxiety show that unfamiliar darkness still triggers the same stress response our ancestors had around real predators. Your brain isn't broken. It's running 200,000-year-old software on modern hardware. On that old software still shapes modern behavior. Why horror movies low darkness? Why kids want lights? Why we still gather around fires, literally or figuratively? When we want to feel safe and connected, the entire horror genre is built on this one ancient wire. Take away the lights, and the human brain does the rest of the work for free. Filling silence and shadow with whatever it fears most. Not everyone feels this fear equally. Twin studies suggest a meaningful genetic components to hold strong weight. Someone reacts to darkness. Some of us are simply wired more cautious than others. Childhood experience matters just as much. A single frightening incident in the dark, a scary story taken too seriously, or a genuinely unsafe moment, and wire function that lasts decades. Where you grow up plays a role too. People raised in areas with feel unpredictable nighttime danger often develop stronger, bike-related vigilance than those raised in consistently safe, lovely, and marvelous. On the extreme end, some people develop nyctophobia, a divisible, destructive fear of darkness that goes well beyond ordinary unease. But for the vast majority of us, that flicker of caution is just old Byron doing its job. So the next time you feel that flicker of unease in the dark, remember, it's not weakness. It's 200,000 years of survival, still quietly looking out for you. It's the same instinct that fear pulls us forward. Empires, candlelit dinners, and porch lights, left on for someone coming home late. We never really stopped gathering around the fire. It just builds more of them. That's the kind of question this channel exists to answer. Not just what happened in history, but why it still lives inside us. If history like this fascinates you, this channel picks up one forgotten why every week. The hidden reasons behind things we do without ever asking. Subscribe, and next time we'll ask why humans are beyond the species that blushes.